Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're going to explore something pretty radical, actually. A huge shift in, well, who gets to fund the future? Forget those, closed boardrooms, the usual venture capital folks. What if funding big ideas wasn't just for a select few? What if it was like a global community pooling resources, all run by code? That's what we're diving into. Crowdfunding through DAOs, Decentralized Autonomous Organizations. So maybe let's start there. For anyone listening who's thinking, DAO, what's it? How would you break it down?
Yeah, good question. So at its heart, a DAO is basically a community, right? And it's governed by rules written in code smart contracts that live on a blockchain. There's no CEO calling the shots, no central hierarchy. It's just, well, a shared mission and code that dictates how everything works. Think of it like a digital collective, not a typical company. And here's the kicker, the really revolutionary part. DAOs don't just tweak how funding works. They turn it completely on its head. So you're not just asking for a handout or a loan. You're inviting people to be co-owners. Backers aren't just funders. They become like active members, stakeholders, voters.
Yeah.
They actually help shape the project.
Right, so they're invested, literally.
Exactly. They have skin in the game.
That is a pretty fundamental shift. It makes funding sound more democratic, maybe.
Right.
But does it spread the risk, too? And, how does that ownership feel real? Oh, it can feel very real, and sometimes spectacularly so. Get this. Remember ConstitutionDAO back in 2021?
Oh, yeah. That was something else.
Right. A bunch of strangers online, they banded together and raised, over $40 million in less than a week.
Incredible speed.
Their goal was nuts: buy an original copy of the U.S. Constitution at auction. Okay, so they didn't win the bid in the end, but wow. It showed that when people feel that direct sense of ownership, that collective belief, they can mobilize serious capital. Stuff usually reserved for, big institutions. It wasn't just money. It was about owning a piece of history together.
Absolutely. And that's just one example. Look at Gitcoin.
Yeah.
They use DAO-governed grants, mainly to fund open-source software projects, which are vital.
Yeah, the plumbing of the internet often relies on that stuff.
Totally. And Gitcoin uses things like quadratic voting. It's a mechanism where basically your second vote costs more than your first, your third more than your second, exponentially. The idea is to give smaller contributors a relatively bigger voice compared to just one whale dominating. And they use token-based governance. Owning the project's token gives you voting rights.
So it cuts out the middleman.
Completely. No traditional gatekeepers deciding who gets funded. It's the community, the code, shaping the future of these projects.
Okay, and that code, those smart contracts you mentioned, that leads to another massive difference: transparency.
Oh, absolutely. Huge difference. Every single transaction, every vote, every movement of funds within a DAO happens on-chain. Meaning it's recorded permanently on the blockchain, publicly visible, anyone can check it. It's basically audit-proof from the get-go.
So no more worrying about, where the money actually went, shady bank accounts, founders vanishing, that kind of thing.
Well, it drastically reduces that risk, yeah. The ledger is open, and contributions aren't just cash either. People contribute skills, ideas, they vote. You're not just a passive donor. You're part of this living, breathing financial organism shaping it.
This sounds incredibly powerful, almost utopian in a way. But there have to be catches, right? Challenges, downsides.
Oh, definitely. It's far from a utopia. While the potential is immense, you've got real risks. Smart contracts can have bugs, right? Code isn't perfect. And a bug could mean, poof, funds are gone. Catastrophic losses.
Ouch.
Yeah. Then there's governance. What if one person, a whale, holds a ton of the tokens? They could potentially hijack the voting, steer the whole project for their own benefit.
Right, the 51% attack problem, essentially.
Sort of, yeah. Or even ethical stuff. What if a DAO, maybe unintentionally, ends up funding something problematic? And regulators, they're still figuring it all out.
Scratching their heads.
Totally. Is it a company? A nonprofit? Is it just, a glorified Discord chat with a shared crypto wallet? The lines are blurry.
Okay, so there's definitely some chaos, some hurdles, but even with all that, the core power of this funding model, it feels undeniable.
It really does. Because what's happening here, fundamentally, is that DAOs are rewriting the rule book for how dreams get funded. It's shifting the focus. It's less about who, whether you have the right connections to get into that boardroom.
And more about
belonging to the right mission, finding your tribe, people who believe in the same thing you do, and just building it together.
So let's leave our listeners with this thought then. Next time you have that big idea, maybe don't just think about pitching it to a boardroom. Maybe pitch it to the blockchain. Because in this emerging world, your backers,
They aren't just donors watching from the sidelines, they're effectively your co-pilots, steering the future right there with you.